Okay, we're going to get started. So thank you all for coming today. We're excited to see all of your faces. My name is Kelsey Nager, and I am the Employer Experience Coordinator at USD. So I work to get employers interacting with students through career fairs, on-campus interviews, info sessions, and virtual sessions. So we're excited to have you here today for the TTi info session. A few housekeeping items. Feel free to type any questions you have during the presentation into the chat box if you'd like, or at the end, you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly to Abigail, the recruiter. We'll also be utilizing the user report from this session for Passport Compass Connect points. So in your registration, you filled out a field for your student ID number. So we'll be using that, and then also the attendance list to see who gets points. And it'll take a few days to hit your account, so please give it a little bit of time, but we'll work on it. And if you don't see it in a few days, let us know. Also, in follow-up to the session, I'll be emailing out an email with Abigail's information, as well as a sign-up sheet for her and any job postings that they have on Handshake that is relevant to you. So we're going to ask just a few poll questions to see who's on the call today, and then we'll hand it over to Abigail to talk about TTi. So the first question is simply, what is your major? If you're an alum, you can put non-applicable. And if you're a graduate student, maybe the field you're in, that's most applicable. We'll give it a few more seconds. Okay. We're going to end the poll and share results. So most of you are business majors. There's a couple College of Arts and Sciences, as well as some School of Engineering, and a few non-applicables. And then we have one more poll for you. And it's just, what is your year? So go ahead and fill out. Perfect. Okay, I think that's everyone. So we'll end poll. So we have lots of juniors and seniors, and then a few sophomores, graduate students, and alumni. So, oh, share results. Sorry, should share. There you go. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to hand it over to Abigail. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to text them into the chat box or ask them at the end. This session will be recorded, so if you don't want your face in the recording, go ahead and turn off your camera now. And you can always unmute yourself at the end to ask questions. So thank you, Abigail, for coming, and we're excited to hear more about TTi.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Can you all hear me correct? Okay, sound good? All right. So first and foremost, this page on the front, it's going to be a way for you guys to get more information on TTi and our openings currently, what we're looking for, what we have coming up the pipeline. We'll have this up right now. We'll ask you a few questions. So if you want to take a little more time, it'll be at the end as well during the question portion of the presentation. So TTi. What is TTi? Most people don't really know what we do, what we have. So here is a little bit of an overview of our current brands. So we have acquisitions and brands that we own. So first and foremost is Milwaukee, our flagship brand, in Home Depot, as well as primarily the rest of these brands, except a few. So right now we partner with Home Depot and we partner with Walmart, where we have our Heart brand, which is the one in the bottom. And what that means is basically we have our hands in power tools, accessories, outdoor equipment, and floor care, which right now, all these categories are just booming during this COVID time because people are bored in their homes, they're doing renovations, they're doing outdoor activities, they're painting, all that kind of stuff. And all those activities take the products that we offer. So from there, we have an overview of our business. We are a $7.7 billion company as of 2017. I didn't have the most up-to-date version, but right now we're at close to 8 billion, over 30,000 employees, 700 products launched. And we have just recently opened up the Heart brand, the top right of that little area where it has all the brands on it, right about here. We have the Heart brand, and we took that last year and we converted it to a whole line of power tools that we sold into Walmart. So now we're in both Home Depot and Walmart, which was not the case only about a year ago. So there's a lot of expansion going on and a lot of openings happening. So from there, we basically started TTi in 1985. We partnered with Craftsman. Craftsman is now owned by Black & Decker, which is like DeWalt, the yellow tools in Home Depots that you'll see. We basically have expanded in the last 35 or so years from a pretty non-existent company owning like 3% market share from Milwaukee to owning just about toe-to-toe with DeWalt at about 30% market share, only 30 years later. So the growth is exponential, and now we're adding in Walmart as well with our Heart brand. From there, we have our LDP program, which is what we are hiring for when it comes to colleges. We have significant growth when it comes to hiring within our company. So when you become a rep or an EMS, which I will discuss a little bit later on, you start from the base role as entry level, but from there, you become a manager like I am right now. I'm a territory manager, but I also do recruiting. So you get a lot of experience in that kind of area where it's recruiting, manager, managing people. And then from there, you can also go into sales, marketing, or management. So that's our biggest LDP program is in those three areas. And I'll have a little bit of like a flow chart to show you in a little bit about how that works and how it looks. But here's a little bit of example of our LDP program and what schools they've come from and what kind of growth they've had. So if you look at our VP, Cole, he came from SDSU. He was hired on, I'm pretty sure, by Jeff Banner, who is our SDSU recruiter for the past 15 or so years. And he's gone from a sales rep, which is the base role, to the VP of marketing and product from Milwaukee, which is an incredible trajectory from, let's see, what year was he at? From 08. So in 12 years, he's gone from the opening role to the vice president of a whole brand. So going from that kind of growth is something that we really pride ourselves on. And as long as you show your ability to work hard and to kind of show what you can do, that's kind of how the progression works, which is really exciting to see. Another example is 2011, Corey Smith. He started in field sales and marketing, and now he is an account manager for Milwaukee as well. So an account manager it's a large, you get like a whole territory of like hand tools or accessories. That whole section is on you, and you are heading that entirety, which is an incredible growth trajectory to see. And then from there, we have the ones we have from USD. We're fairly new to USD, if you can't tell. We haven't been recruiting here very long, but we're very excited to see how incredible you guys are. I've seen so many intelligent, fun, kind people coming from this school, and it's been really fun to see what we can do when it comes to hiring people from USD. I know Jasmine personally, and she has already gone through 3 roles in 2 years. So I'm looking for my next role, and that will be also 2.5 years. So it's a pretty fast pace environment, but it's also just really exciting to see what you can do. And so for our current opening role, which is going to be also on Handshake currently, that Kelsey will send out to you later, we have an EMS program, Event Marketing Specialist. What that basically means is, yes, you're in Home Depot, not the most glamorous job, we know, but from there you get to experience what the end user sees, what they feel, what they like, do not like about the tool, which is really important information and knowledge to have when you go into the roles of sales or marketing or management, to understand how the core users use the products, understand the products, and what changes they want in the products. So that's why we all enter into this role. Like I said, the VP of Milwaukee started where I started, which is really fun to see, because that way when I call someone that's 8 roles above me, they don't talk down to me anyway, because they understand where I started and where I was, which is really fun to see. And so when it comes to the EMS role, what you'll be doing is you'll be heading our Ryobi brand, which is the primary homeowner brand. It's the #1 brand in the nation when it comes to homeowners. It has the largest spectrum of tools as well, over 200 tools in the system. It's super exciting to have, and we're still growing. We're adding cleaning tools currently, because of COVID, and they're selling off the shelves right now. And from there, so the EMS is going to be, you'll be in a Home Depot with another rep. That's going to be a sales and marketing rep. That's one level above you. And from there, you learn the ins and outs of the job, and you learn about the consumer satisfaction, building relationships with the store and customers, building your own kind of market in that area or whatever stores you have, building that market, and then understanding like what affects it, as well as merchandising, sales events, which we are currently not doing due to COVID. We've had a little bit chips here and there when it comes to what we can and can't do, and events is one of them because it means people are coming to you, which is within 6 feet. So we are not allowed to do that currently, but we're hoping in the next few months, I don't know, we'll be approved to do so, but currently no. And then a part of this EMS program, as well as the next level of sales and marketing and managerial, you get a vehicle. So the benefits of the EMS program is a base salary with bonus potential each quarter, as well as a company vehicle. It's a bright and shiny Milwaukee truck or a bright and shiny Ryobi truck. And you get a gas card, you get insurance, you get a phone, medical and dental, which is really great to have, especially if you're working in Home Depot, and a relocation bonus if you're relocated, and our training program. So our training program is typicily in Milwaukee or in South Carolina, but since we are unable to do any travel, our training team has churned out an incredible training program virtually. So it's half virtual, half in store. So currently all of our reps and myself, all the managers are in stores working through the entirety of COVID because Home Depot is considered essential, and so is Walmart. So we haven't stopped our day-to-day going into stores and working with associates, all that kind of stuff, but we have been trying to be as cautious as possible when it comes to distance, wearing masks, washing hands, all those things. We haven't had too many issues, but there's only so much you can do. But when it comes to training, we usually fly you out for 5 days in your first year or so of being a sales rep. And we train you in product knowledge, who uses the products and why, because there's so many tools in the product line that you want to know like how to sell them correctly and minimize returns and all that kind of stuff. And we also send you out a second time for developmental activities for your professional skills, such as presentations, partnership pitching, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just, product knowledge, but also kind of developing for the future roles of being a manager, being a product specialist, going into sales, that kind of thing. And, no, it's not showing up. Oh, no. Oh, all right, there you go. So here is our flow chart for our career launch, if you will. So it's basically the EMS entry level in Home Depots, and so is the field sales and marketing role. Typically that will take between 8 to 12 months for the EMS role, and then another 8-ish or so months in the field sales role. The field sales role should take a little bit shorter time because you've already kind of mastered the idea of sales, marketing, and all that kind of stuff in your EMS role. But from there, you transition to field and sales. And from there, it's kind of whatever you feel you're interested in. So I was interested in market and management, so I went into management in this area. But if you're open to relocation, it's just leaps and bounds of whatever you're interested in. So it could be a marketing coordinator in Milwaukee, South Carolina, North Carolina. You could do a TR, which is a territory rep for primarily Milwaukee. So you'd be going on job sites, talking to people on job sites. We have one of my friends is now a TR for a certain section in San Diego where he works with the zoo, Petco Park. Really cool kind of interactions and new ways to develop those skills. And then from there, you can kind of go up in the sales or you can go across. So if you're not interested, so you try being a territory rep and you're like, actually, I'm not really that interested in sales. That's A-okay. You're more than welcome to go back to being a rep if you wanted, or you could go across to being a manager, whatever. Since we promote from within, it's all up to you, up to the people that are in our company. That's a nice part about it. So there's no other competition coming in. Say some guy that works for 30 years, and he is applying and you're trying to, you had 2 years experience. It's not that kind of situation, which is nice. So it's kind of whatever you're into. There's no negative connotation to being a a territory rep and then be like, hey, I'm not really interested in this. I want to try something different, or I want to go back to being a rep, which is nice to have. And then we also have a summer internship program for the juniors that are on the call as well. That has already started for this year, but we have opportunity every summer. It's not a fall and summer, it's just summer program. What that looks like is a 8 to 10 week program focusing on selling. You have a corporate mentor call with people in the company that have done different things every week. So you get to hear a different voice every week, which is super exciting to have. I have an intern right now who just had a mentor call with the head of operations, and she was like, I want to go in operations. That's what I want to do. So it's really interesting to see how people really respond well to those. And then you also learn about kind of behavioral analysis of customers, sales numbers analysis, how your market works, what affects your market, where you're at, that kind of stuff. And then you have a final presentation at the end that you develop. And they typically send you out to Milwaukee or South Carolina for this presentation. And they will also send out or reach out with a offer or not, depending on how it goes. But again, this year it might look different. We're not entirely positive yet how it's going to look. It's likely going to be a virtual Zoom presentation and interview. But when it comes to the seniors, rising seniors as well, it is the same kind of, not an internship program, but what we do is we get your information, we put you through 2 interviews, and then from there we have a 3rd round interview in Milwaukee or South Carolina. But again, will likely be on a Zoom this year. And then here is a little more information as to where you can learn about the recruiting efforts, TTi itself, what brands we have, and a little more about that. And then we have a little bit about the environment right now. So when it comes to consumer behavior, what we've noticed a lot, which I kind of stated earlier, was people are at home right now. They've had these projects they've been wanting to do for the past 10 years, putting it off, and now they're going out and they're buying trimmers, blowers, hedge trimmers, tools to build a deck, build some sort of bookcase. I've seen so many different projects coming in. Primarily the Ryobi brand has had a really big soar the past 4 or so months when it comes to outdoor product primarily. All of our areas in TTi have seen a lot of growth since COVID, but the biggest growth we've seen is outdoor. We've been trying to get inventory in the stores to really help support it, but it mixed with the buying habits and the surge in outdoor purchasing, mixed with the inventory. I believe they're having maybe a little bit less people in the inventory centers to have 6 feet apart, so I think they're cutting down a little bit as to how many people they can have in the centers. That's been kind of affecting our inventory management when it comes to having enough inventory to fulfill the needs of people right now. If you go into a Home Depot right now, you're going to see us trying to get product into the outdoor area, but it's going to be cordless, which is the future of power tools, and corded and electrical tools. So we're selling a ton of gas powered trimmers, even though we have primarily only cordless tools in that aisle, but people are still buying gas powered because they just know what it is and they understand it and they are familiar with it more than they are with the cordless, which started only in 2007. We were the first, one of the first people to have lithium ion batteries, which is the cordless batteries that are not the old NiCad batteries. It's been difficult to try and get enough inventory for all that. But people are doing DIY projects, gardening, painting. So the paint department as well has been having a lot of surge, and now safety products. So got glasses, masks, cleaning tools. We just launched for Ryobi a whole section in Home Depot. I'm not sure if all Home Depots, but a lot of Home Depots, a section of safety cleaning. And that has been also flying off the shelves due to COVID. And that's kind of all I got when it comes to our positions. So a little overview of that again is going to be our EMS program. and that's going to be the entry-level position. It's going to be the in Home Depot with another rep, 6 feet apart, and learning the ins and outs of that market that you're in. And from there, depending on what you're interested in, you go into field sales, and there you can kind of go into sales, marketing, or management. And in those areas, it's also a lot of opportunity within that. So there's also operations or recruiting as well, not just sales, marketing, management, but that's our biggest focus when it comes to development program. But there are more options as well. Thank you. And this right here is my contact info. I know Kelsey will send it out to you as well, but this is available to you. And then the text thread as well. It's not case sensitive, so you can put in USD # or hashtag, whatever you want to call it. And it'll ask for your major, your name, graduation date, and a few other questions. So it might take a few minutes for you guys to put that in.
Great, thank you so much, Abigail. That was, I think the consumer behavior part was really interesting too, because you kind of see that people are doing DIY projects right now and getting things done, but to actually hear it too from someone who's in stores and kind of seeing it on the day-to-day, and your product and inventory, I'm sure, is showing you even more of that than we would see just walking in.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
I have to make pretty much an order. So before COVID, I had to make probably 1 order a month on the store level, maybe. Now we're doing 1 order a week, and that's not enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, I want to open it up to Q&A for students. So if any students on the call or staff have questions for Abigail, feel free to either unmute yourself or type your question into the chat box and I can read it for you.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So I know there's like the highest position, like I think it was like president of sales, marketing, and so is that one president in each area, did you say? Like I know you have different bases in South Carolina.
Yeah, so we have headquarters in South Carolina for the floor care unit. So that will have a vice president, all that stuff. And then we have in North Carolina and Charlotte, we have the R2, our Ryobi and our Rigid. So they have a vice president, president, marketing, all that stuff is there. And then in Milwaukee, we have Milwaukee. So we have we have our other brand, Empire, which is the blue levels that you'll see in Home Depots. That's also Milwaukee, and they have their own VP, all that kind of stuff. But from there, we have it all sectioned off into like, hand tools, power tools, drills, impacts, rotary hammers. It's all segmented, and they all have their own team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, were you ever interested in like power tools before you got that job?
I only knew about maybe some mechanic tools because my dad was a mechanic for a little while. So I was familiar with an impact wrench, and that was the gist of my knowledge. That's why I really love and talk up our training, because I knew nothing when I came in, and now I talk to contractors on the daily about what kind of size of rotary hammer they need, or what kind of grinder they need for what kind of material. And you learn a lot when it comes to the training, which I really, really was what I want to do potentially, is become on the training team, because I just really loved our training program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
If no one has a question for now, I've got a question for you, Abigail. So working in the Career Development Center, we hear a lot from students about how important mentorship is to them in their shaping their own professional development. So one of the things you shared as part of the internship and the training program was that opportunity to have different calls and the opportunities to engage with people more senior. Could you share about kind of how mentors shaped your own journey at TTi? And
yeah, of course.
these students and alumni could kind of take up those opportunities for their own.
Yeah, so I started as a rep here in San Diego, and I really kind of appreciated and really loved how my manager just did his job, and I really appreciated how well he held himself and how he's organized and all that kind of stuff, and I wanted to do better in that. So I had always called my manager almost every day asking, hey, so what are some tips on this? What are some tips on this? Because when it comes to being a rep or an EMS role, you're pretty much on your own. So it's up to you to really shine and show what you can do and be self-motivated. One of the big things we look for is people that are self-motivated and understand that whatever work you put in is what you're gonna get out of it. So from there, when I became a manager, I was just like, I didn't know where to begin. It felt like a whole new world to me. So I started to talk to my current manager, and I was like, hey, can we have a weekly call and kind of talk about potential things coming down the pipeline and things that I wanted to learn and develop. So she became kind of my mentor. And then from there, I want to go into training. So I reached out to someone in training. I asked them, hey, I'm looking forward to kind of being on your team someday. And I wanted to know if you were able to talk to me a little bit about what you like about this job, what you don't, what you think is the most important skills to have, characteristics to have. So they're very open to helping you. So if you reach out and you ask someone on the marketing team or the training team, they're pretty willing to help you and to become a mentor for you. When it comes to the internships, those mentor calls are really nice because they're about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and it just depends on how many questions are asked. So that's a really great opportunity to ask about being a mentor or having a mentor. So, dismiss. Hold on. Okay. When it comes to the mentor calls, they have it every week, which is nice. So it's always a new person on and new questions. So last week we had my manager, the divisional of the whole Pac South. And then before that we had the head of the West Coast for operations. And they kind of talk about their developmental progression and things that they've learned, things that they still work on. And then they open up to all the interns to kind of ask their questions and go from there.
That's great. Thank you, Abigail. And then a follow-up question. One of the things you mentioned that you were looking for is for applicants to be self-motivated. What are some of the other values and qualities that you look for?
We have our 5 circles of excellence, and one of them is integrity. And for me, it's just coming into work every day and understanding that, like I said, what I put into this is what I'm going to get out of this. So understanding that, it's up to you to build the life you want to have and the career you want to have. And that's something that I've really kind of honed in on the past year or so when it comes to being a manager, especially because I understand as a rep role, I was able to get promoted into manager so quickly because I showed that I was motivated enough and I had the integrity to do my job and do it well while no one was watching me. So my manager only came by maybe once a week, if that. And I mean, we had calls every day. We had conference calls and all that kind of stuff, but it was up to me to show what I could do and how much I cared about my job.
Thank you for sharing. I love the examples that you provided.
Thank you.
You as well. Are there any questions from students who would like to jump in and ask Abigail something? She's here and captive, so ask.
Any power tool questions? You want to work on something? Let me know you want to get it done correctly. I'm here to help. Are they able to send in questions later on in that? Or you can email me, anything pops up. Feel free to email me, call me.
Okay, well, if there aren't any questions, we can end early, but I'm gonna give it a few more seconds if anyone thinks of anything. Just take advantage of the recruiter now. They're gonna be at the career fair in October. So you'll be able to meet with Abigail again virtually and connect with her there too. So this isn't the last time you'll see her, but it's a great time to ask questions. And if you're thinking about applying, this is a great time to ask, like, what should be included in your cover letter? What should be included in your resume to show the values of TTi? So if anyone has any questions around that, I would recommend asking those.
I can go over it a bit if you would like on what to look for. Yeah, so when it comes to resumes, concise is best, most relevant up top, because we see probably 1,000 resumes in a week. So we want to make sure that we have, you know, the most relevant items to the job you're applying for at the top. And we look for people that are, you know, graduating soon and or have graduated. We look for people that, like I said, self-motivated, have leadership ability. So if you have anything leadership related, or took a class or did some sort of organization, you were in an organization, whether it be AMA or something like that, make sure you add that in and showcase it. So, and then be able to talk on it, because we want to make sure that you know, what you learned from it, biggest struggle you had, balancing school and being in an organization, but really shows us how you are able to be a leader and to really be able to juggle all of those things at once, because it kind of helps us understand your projection when it comes to where you want to go in your career. And those are the main things that we look for when it comes to the resumes. We only have like a few seconds to really go through them. So you want to make sure that we have it as concise and as relevant as possible when it comes to your resume, and keep it, I would say, as clean as possible. Don't do like paragraphs. I've seen a lot of paragraph ones, just it's hard to read. So try and do bullet points with really concise sentences, like 1 or 2 sentences tops.
And to confirm, Abigail, you recruit across all majors for students and looking for students no matter what their major.
So any major you have, if you're wanting to apply, we do accept any majors. It's just a matter of if you're interested in sales, marketing, or management, or operations and recruiting. Those are the main places that you have the opportunity to grow in. We have engineering and all that kind of stuff. That would be a different recruiting program. So I could, if anyone's interested in that, I could send them the link to that as well.
And how about, say, if a student hasn't had the opportunity to do another internship yet, or particularly this summer with COVID-19 turning everything upside down, what are some of the ways that they could kind of demonstrate some of those values and really speak to why they would be a good fit for TTi without having previous experience?
To me, I wasn't in a program. I was very shy in high school and college. You wouldn't guess that now. But I didn't have any kind of internship either. I just made sure that I was as passionate as I could be about a career and I had a pinpoint of where I wanted to go. So if you don't have those internships, or you're in organizations, that's totally okay, as long as you have a clean resume and you're willing to really talk on your passion for having a career and growing within a company, or just learning new things. That's kind of what we look for, really passionate people.
That's great, thank you. I think sometimes we found students hesitant if they don't have previous experience, or just not quite sure how to articulate that. But that's really helpful, knowing that you didn't have that previous experience, but we're really able to clearly thrive.
And no experience in power tools either. So yeah, here I am. And it can be daunting, the whole power tools situation, but you know, the training that we do have is extensive, and you're always learning on the job, and you're never just out, you know, by yourself, like doing whatever. It's always it's structured in a way that helps you learn the products and who uses them and why. So that really helped me kind of feel more confident in myself and when it came to my job.
Nice. To what extent would you say it's a mix of kind of that independence, but also kind of working collaboratively with people in different departments or within different sales units?
So it depends on what region you're in. Certain regions are very condensed. So I have my reps work together on certain things more often than someone in Minnesota would, because they only have 3 or 4 stores in like a 100-mile radius. So it kind of depends on that for one. But you're also with your associates and your assistant managers, store managers in your Home Depot, which is kind of like your market. So you're working with them constantly. But when it comes to working with the other reps or your manager, it's typically once a week with your manager, and then however your manager decides to structure it when it comes to working with each other. But I try to help my reps work with each other, because I think it's a really important thing to have, to be able to interact with each other and get, you know, ideas and thoughts from everybody else.
Great teamwork building.
I try.
I know you mentioned there's 3 interviews for your position. Can you kind of talk about what each of those interviews look like and who they're with?
Oh yeah, of course. So we have a first round, second round, and the third round. So if you are coming from one of these info sessions, you'd be doing a third round with the head of the West, the head of training, or the head of Milwaukee, through a Zoom most likely, instead of being flown out like we typically do. We're not positive yet. But the first round is going to be with myself or another manager in the area, as Kelsey knows, Jeff Banner. And your second round interview would be likely with either our recruiting manager for the West Coast, or with our divisional manager for the Pac South, which is my manager. And then from there, you go to your third round, depending on how those go. But I believe we're doing Zoom calls, correct, Kelsey, for after these sessions?
For interviews?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We typically, TTi will come on campus and host interviews for students, usually shortly after a career fair, but due to COVID, we won't be hosting interviews on campus. So it'll be all virtually this year. Yeah, thank you. Good clarification point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will be sharing more with you as students about what the interviews will look like, and how we can connect you with companies like TTi and other employers that we're working with. So,
yeah, so the interviews are basically
get that opportunity.
Oh,
They're
about 30 to 30 minutes, depending on who's interviewing you. It varies. We kind of ask you questions based on your resume, things that you've done, things that you feel like really showed your leadership ability or your ability to kind of overcome certain things, or we ask just kind of generic questions on how you are able to be, able to multitask, or how you take items that have multiple different deadlines and how you deal with that kind of stuff. So a little more generic questions for the first interview, kind of getting to know you a little bit. And then the second round interview is kind of more applicable, just demonstrating how you were able to do certain things and adjust certain things to help us understand kind of what you're looking for and what you're looking for in the long term, and how you were able to do that, and what kind of skills you have or are willing to develop to get there.
Do you have any advice, Abigail, on how students can really shine and impress in a virtual setting through their interview?
Virtual setting. If you're wearing sweatpants, don't get up. And when it comes to Zoom calls, I haven't had that many. Just being open with your answers in terms of just the getting to know you part, but also projecting in a way that shows you're still, yeah, we're in COVID time, things are uncertain, things are weird, but we're still hiring, and that's something that's still exciting to have. So that's something that I would really, showcase, like, hey, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see what comes of this and what you guys will have to offer. And that's something that really comes through even through a Zoom call, is that when you're really, really passionate and really, excited to see what you can do and what we're here to offer you.
Thank you. That's really great insight. And I think once the students get to the interview rounds, hopefully that information will help them succeed and stand out too.
Yeah. I know the entry-level job isn't the most glamorous, I'm aware, but it really is really vital information to have when it comes to later roles. If I wasn't a rep, I wouldn't understand the troubles that they have and the things that they go through day to day. That, like, if I was a manager and never was a rep, and they were complaining about certain things not coming in on time, certain things not, or people that were complaining about certain things, I wouldn't understand how that works and how they feel. But since I do, I have a much better understanding, and I'm able to help them and grow them and develop them much better than I would if I didn't know how they were.
I think that's something very unique to TTI, that you have such a good development program and hiring from within before anything else, so that you have that growth trajectory, that vertical upward movement. So
Yeah.
that's really important.
Sky's the limit, guys. Let's go. That's how I felt about it when I first hired on.
No, that's great. That's a great mentality to have. So I want to do last call for students. Any burning questions, any last minute opportunities that you'd like to take advantage of while Abigail's on the call? Okay. So
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
thank you for coming. We're so thankful that you could join us, and hopefully the students who joined the call got a lot of information out of it, and we look forward to following up with you at the career fair, as well as I'll send the email out to the students with Abigail's information, phone number, and email, and then any job postings that are on Handshake as well, so that if anything sounded of interest to you, you can go ahead and apply as soon as possible.
I updated the Handshake one, so let me know if it's up to date, and if it's not, let me know, and I will adjust.
Perfect, will do. Thank you all. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Friday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks for being here, Abigail.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for coming.